Weewaawo nkwaniriza nnyo ku UBC leero nze Mario Nakitene ne Yusuf Senyomo wali ku lulimi olw'obubonero tukuleetedde bingi ebifudde mu bitundu by'eggwanga eby'enjawulo era ng'ebimu ku ebyo ekibiina kya NRM kiyise abeegwanyiza entebe y'obwa sipiika okuteekayo okusaba kwabwe ate era nga tujja kuba tubikutuusaako ebikirako ebyo tugenda kugatandikirawo ag'olunaku olwaleero tegeeza muno atanatega nti UBC etandise. Kantandike n'omukulembeze w'eggwanga azzeemu olunaku olwaleero okukungubagira abadde sipiika wa paalamenti y'eggwanga Jacob Oulanyah mu bubaka bwaweereza agamba nti anyoleddwa nnyo wamu n'abooluganda emikwano wamu ne bannayuganda okufiirwako. Abadde sipiika asuubizza nga NRM ng'ekibiina bwe kitajja kubalekerera naddala mu kaseera kano akazibu era n'asuubiza nga ennaku ezijja wajja okwongera okwogera ku by'Oulanyah. Ategeezezza nga bw'ataddewo akakiiko akakulemberwa minisita w'ensonga z'obwa pulezidenti Mireba Balanda okukulemberamu entegeka z'amaziika mu kino akaatirizza ekya bbendera okwewuubira wakati mu mirongooti ng'etteeka bwe liruŋŋamya enkola eno. Ate y'omuduumizi wa poliisi mu ggwanga Martin Jones Okoth Ochola akungubagidde abadde sipiika wa paalamenti Jacob Oulanyah eyavudde mu bulamu bw'ensi eno olunaku olw'eggulo. Ochola ategeezezza nti omugenzi abadde musaale nnyo mu kulwanirira ekitongole kya poliisi naddala bwe kituuka mu kwongezebwa ensimbi ezitambuza ekitongole kino. Obubaka buno busomeddwa omwogezi wa poliisi mu ggwanga Fred Enanga.
Mr. John Martin Okoth Ochola ku lulwe ne ku lw'abapoliisi bonna mu ggwanga yavuddeyo n'aweereza okunyolwa n'okusaasira kwe eri famire, ab'eŋŋanda, ab'emikwano, bammemba ba paaliyamenti, abakozi n'abatuuze mu constituent ey'Omoro oluvannyuma lw'okufiirwa Right Honourable Speaker wa Parliament Jacob Oulanyah. Ono y'omu ku bakulembeze oba bannabyabufuzi abaali balina ettutumu obuganzi mu kitongole ekya poliisi olw'okuba nti mu kutambuza emirimu gyabwe yatambuza nnyo emirimu gye ng'atambulira ku mazima, okwagala, nga si ye muntu eyali ayisa mu bapoliisi amaaso, so n'olw'ensonga eyo abapoliisi abaali bamukuuma n'ekitongole ekya poliisi mu bugazi bwakyo kyali kimwenyumirizaamu nnyo. Era twagala okumwebaza kubanga wano waafiiridde yali yatuwa essuubi ddene nnyo ng'alaga nti ayagala akole ayambe ekitongole kya poliisi okusitula omutindo gwayo ebere poliisi eŋŋanzi eyagalibwa buli munnayuganda mu mpeereza yaayo. So tufiiriddwa kinene nnyo okubanga yali tubadde tulina essuubi ddene nnyo eri Right Honourable Speaker. So gye tugenda okugenda mu maaso twagala okumwebaza olw'okutwagala ate ne tusaba Omukama Katonda omwoyo gwe aguwumuze mirembe.
UBC leero atembera ya kiyongobero mu maka g'abadde Speaker wa Parliament e Muyenga mu Kampala, abantu batonotono ng'okusinga baluganda n'emikwano emitono be bakuŋŋaanidde mu maka okumukungubagira. Ennyimba ezizaamu amaanyi zibadde ziyimbibwa olunaku lwonna era okulaga obwennyamivu abantu bwe bawulira olw'okuviirwako ow'omukwano.
Kaseera kakungubaganga abooluganda abatonotono n'emikwano bakyakuŋŋaanidde mu maka g'abadde Speaker wa Parliament Oulanyah e Muyenga mu Kampala okukungubaga n'okwegumya olw'okuvibwako munnaabwe oyo. Abantu babadde bamuswaba ddala wabula nga bonna embeera ya kiyongobero. Andrew Mwenda munnamawulire yagasakako omugenzi amwogeddeko ng'omuntu omugezi ennyo abadde agenda okulinyisa ennyo omutindo gw'enteesa za Parliament.
Emyaka around 1994, that's 28 years ago. 1994, nali first year at university, mwaka gw'okusooka mu university, yali practicing lawyer. Yalinga lawyer w'amagezi nnyo. Buli muntu wano mu Uganda wano mu Kampala baali bamumanyi. Kakati nga tugenda mu seminar, at that time twali tulina constitution making. Uganda yali ewandiika constitution. Kakati wali tulina seminars nyingi nnyo boogerako ebya constitution. Kakati Oulanyah yali mu oba abantu abaali bakola ki boogerako constitution abatalinga mu constituent assembly. So Norbert Mao, Oulanyah and Professor Nabudere, balo abantu bangi nnyo. At that time we were having a lot of meetings.
Mwenda agamba nti bakwataganye n'omugenzi okumala emyaka 28 era nga abadde amumanyi nga muntu wa kisa.
Mugabi yali musajja wa magezi nnyo. Kakati yali also yali Mugabi yali wa magezi nnyo.
Grace Akulo akulira poliisi y'ensi yonna mu Uganda Interpol, Director Operations IGP Edward Ochom, Director Crime Intelligence Brigadier General Christopher Damulira nabo tubasanzeeyo. Nze Shaidat Nassaku ne Philip Aguta mu Kampala.
Weewaawo UBC leero wetweyongerayo ate bo bannakibiina kya Forum for Democratic Change baagala gavumenti eyongere ensimbi mu byobulamu nti kubanga kikwasa ensonyi okubanga Speaker wa Parliament y'eggwanga Jacob Oulanyah yafiiridde bweru w'eggwanga ng'ajjanjabibwa bwe babadde boogerako ne bannamawulire ku kitebe kyabwe Najjana Nkumbi bwe bategeezezza bannamawulire.
Bannakibiina kya Forum for Democratic Change begasse ku bannayuganda abalala okukungubagira Speaker wa Parliament Jacob Oulanyah. President wa FDC Patrick Oboya Muriat omugenzi amwogeddeko nga munnabyabufuzi abadde ayogera obulungi era nga si kyangu kumusanga wano mu Uganda.
Whose respect for diverse political opinions was evident in the manner in which he gave equal opportunities to members of Parliament on either side of the political divide. We remember Jacob as a competent lawyer and social worker who exuded benevolence and was always on the side of the law.
Ssaabawandiisi wa FDC Harold Kaija ajjukizza nti obukulembeze bw'Oulanyah bwatandikira Makerere ku University bwe yalondebwa ku lukiiko lw'abayizi nga Speaker nga ne Norbert Mao ye President. Ono era atenderezza obuweereza bwa Oulanyah mu Parliament ate n'okukiikirira ekitundu ky'Omoro kyokka n'afiira ebweru ng'anoonya obujjanjabi.
Mwami Oulanyah okufiira ebweru kiraga obuzibu obw'amaanyi eri mu sekita yaffe ey'ebyobulamu. Adde kirowooza nti abalina obuyinza abakutte ssente zaffe bongere ssente okuziteeka ennyo mu byobulamu.
FDC eyimiriza kampeyini gy'ebaddeko ey'okukunga abantu mu bukiikakkono bw'eggwanga n'emirimu emirala okutuusa ng'Oulanyah aziikiddwa. Bano ne balowooza nti kyalibadde kirungi ekifo kya sipiika ne kironderwamu omuntu ng'Oulanyah amaze okuziikibwa, wabula ng'ate etteeka lirambika nti tewali kiyinza kukolebwa mu palamenti ng'ekimu ku bifo ebyo mu butongole temuli muntu.
Birowoozo ku Masika nga temunnaziika, eyo si nkola yaffe ya wano. Byaranse kulaga abantu we bulijja asabirira obanga bulijja afuira nti musajja afe ekifo nkitwale naawe ojja kufa kuba owuliraga gamba nti oli bwafa tewaabeewo lunaku nga tewaliwo sipiika kuba abadde mu ddwaliro kumala akabanga palamenti badde egenda mu maaso omuntu abadde pyute kumpi akolanga oli so omulimu gusobola okutambula netumala okuziika then tulooka tulowooza ku ebyo.
Ndi Nafka Farida ne Kenneth Tanaba enajana Nkumbi.
Aiwa atebo ababaka abava mu kitundu kye Acholi ebadde esibuka omugenzi Speaker Jacob Oulanyah yavudde mu bulamu bw'ensi eno amaziga gabayise mbwe babadde bakuŋŋaanya okwogera ku bulamu bw'omugenzi ne kyabadde ategeeza mu kitundu gy'abadde yasibuka. Oulanyah yafiiridde mu ddwaliro erimu mu ssaza lya Seattle mu America gy'abadde afuna obujjanjabi.
Embeera esibe ya kimpowooze ku palamenti y'eggwanga oluvannyuma lw'okufa kw'abadde Speaker Jacob Oulanyah era bendera zonna mu kifo kino zeewuubira wakati wa mirongooti ng'akabonero akamukungubagira era nga bwe kirambikibwa mu ssemateeka ne kikkaatirizibwa omukulembeze w'eggwanga. Okufa kwa Oulanyah kwakubye bangi enkukwe. Bano mu nnaku ey'ekitalo balaze nnyeeke oluvannyuma lw'okufiirwa abantu baabwe ab'omugaso ennyo mu bbanga eritali ddene.
He died at a very tender age. You know, in this world, even if death is normal, but someone will celebrate your death when you pass on after 90 years plus. But our brother died at a very tender age. And right now, we from Acholi are not happy.
For Uganda, Oulanyah is not only the son to the Acholi, Oulanyah is the son to Uganda. Oulanyah is the icon for Africa. Oulanyah is the icon for the world.
Fortunately, we have lost him. And as a member of the Acholi parliamentary group, we knew the Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah as a very firm, very principled, and very honest guy. And for me, who worked with the local government for about 15 years, I enjoyed working with him. He was more of a bridge. Every time I needed help as a local government leader, I would run to him.
Omugenzi okuva lwe yavudde mu bulamu bw'ensi eno bangi bamwogerako birungi byereere nga n'olwaleero betwogeddeko nabo bamwogeddeko ng'omusajja abadde tayagala buli bwanguzi abadde tava kamwenyumwenyu ku matama n'ebirala bingi.
Gobeera amateeka buli muzannyo gwonna gubeera n'amateeka ze bayita rules of the game era kyova olaba ekyamaanyi ekyabadde wano nakyo mu palamenti abadde agoberera our rules of procedure nga tava ku mateeka. Era natuwe ekyokulabirako n'agamba nti mwabazannya omupiira singa omuzannyi akola ensobi refuna penalty abantu tebacomplaininga nti lwaki amuwadde penalty kubanga ebeera mu mateeka.
Ababaka abava mu Acholi wano we basinzidde ne basaba oyo yenna Oulanyah gwe yasobya amusonyiwe ne basaba n'abatandise okusekera mu kufa kwe okukikomya.
Those ones who are ready to condone with us, please condone with us. Those ones who are laughing, please laugh in your heart. The death of Oulanyah is not a simple death that everybody can dance with it.
Ababaka abapya abali mu kisanja kyabwe ekisooka wakati mu kunyolwa basiimye Oulanyah olw'okugezaako okubasomesa n'okubalaga bwe balina okukolamu emirimu ku Parliament.
Era fenga 11th Parliament tufiiriddwa nnyo, tufiiriddwa teacher, tufiiriddwa friendly person, tufiiriddwa brother waffe, omuntu obadde approachinga buli kaseera akuyita mu office n'otuukayo n'owulira ntotidde lwaki speaker akuyise. Nadda abadde muntu ayagala buli omu ave ku level gy'abaddeko nadda ku level endala.
Oulanyah yafiiridde mu ssaza lya Seattle mu America olunaku olw'eggulo nga kati ekirindiriddwa y'enteekateeka ey'okuzza omubiri gwe okumukungubagira era n'okumuziika. Jjukira etteeka erirungamya emirimu gya paalamenti lirungamya nti olunaku lw'okuziika lujja kubeera lunaku lwa kuwummula wonna mu ggwanga. Shamim Naiga, Gloria Gwitabingi, Parliament.
UBC bwetoyongerayo minisita wa ICT n'okulungamya eggwanga Dr. Chris Balyomonsi alangiridde nti paalamenti eyimiriziddwa okumala akaseera era nga n'ekifo kya sipiika wa paalamenti kirangiriddwa nti kati kyereere. Abadde annyonnyola ebivudde mu lutuula lw'abaminisita era ng'abadde ku media center wano mu Kampala.
Okwongera okusaasira ab'ennyumba ab'amaka ga Jacob Oulanyah, Abannayuganda mwenna, President Yoweri Museveni n'abantu aba gavumenti, aba constituency eyabadde akiikirira eya Omoro n'aba NRM, kubanga Oweekitiibwa Oulanyah yabadde amyukira ssentebe wa NRM bw'amatemba ga Uganda. Olwaleero kabineti ya Uganda etudde mu maka ga President State House Entebbe. President ye yabadde mu ntebe bakulembera olukiiko netunootinga oba netutegeezebwa President Jo ye yalangiridde nti Speaker wa Parliament wa Uganda yafudde, ate ne leero yafulumya ekiwandiiko ekigamba nti tutaddeko akakiiko ak'okutegeka ebyokuziika, ate netutunuulira n'amateeka. Ssemateeka mu kawaayiro aka 82 egamba nti Paalamenti tesobola kukola kintu kyonna mu ntebe ya sipiika ng'oba terimu sipiika, taliimu, kujjako okutuula okulonda sipiika omulala. Ate waliwo n'etteeka erya Parliamentary Pensions Act ligamba nti sipiika ng'aba afudde, Paalamenti eteekwa kutuula nekola kituyita paying tribute oba okukola okukungubagira. Ate awo kitegeeza nti nubwo omulambo gwa sipiika gutuuka wano, Paalamenti tesobola kutuula okukungubagiza sipiika ate ngo tewali sipiika mu ntebe. Eyo ye ssemateeka kyegamba. Kitegeeza nti essaawa zino n'obukiiko bwa Paalamenti tebusobola kutuula, ne Paalamenti tesobola kutuula okutuuka gutulonze sipiika omupya. Awo ne tusalamu tugoberera amateeka nti wiiki eno ogwokutaano ennaku 25 nti omwezi guno ogwokusatu Paalamenti ya Uganda egenda kutuula okunoonya sipiika omupya. Awo kyekijja kutuyamba kati kukola emirimu gyonna egyetaagibwa okuwerekera sipiika. Twagala abantu bakitegeere bulungi, kubanga waliwo ababuuziza ku mikutu ti lwaki babikola mangu nti n'omulambo gwa sipiika tegunaba kutuuka mu Uganda. Eyo ye constitution kyegamba, kubanga constitution embasomedde akawaayiro ka 82 egamba nti entebe ya sipiika ng'oba nguterimu muntu, Paalamenti tesobola kutuula nekola kintu kyonna. Nekyokukungubagiza sipiika nagwo mulimu gwa Paalamenti. Tetusobola kutuula okukungubagiza sipiika ngu sipiika tali mu ntebe. Yensonga lwaki kati tukola mangu okulaba nti ekifo kya sipiika tunoonya sipiika omulala, then awo Paalamenti egenda kutuula, egende mu maaso n'emirimu. Eyo komandi yeteeka ya ssemateeka, awo tetulina kirala kyakukola.
need to send money to a loved one but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for your car or water but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
It's time to teach. Schools are open. In these days of COVID-19, teachers are not only giving knowledge but protecting themselves and their students from the virus. As a teacher, you must ensure that students follow the set SOPs of always maintaining a distance of 2 meters from others in classrooms, dormitories, entertainment halls, school vans and playgrounds, wearing a washed and clean mask every day that covers their mouths and noses, and regularly washing their hands with soap and water. In addition to that, you must counsel students about stigma related to COVID-19 and discourage them from violence. Any violence against students from classmates, teachers or parents should be reported immediately to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Ensuring everyone's safety is key, so make sure students are out of class by the official closing time. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
UBC kitundu kya kubiri tukyagenda maaso n'amawulire gaffe kakati kitegeerekese ng'okulonda sipiika omujja anaddira omugenzi Jacob Oulanyah mu bigere bwe kujja okubaawo ku Lwokutaano luno olujja ssemateeka ennyingo ya 82 egamba nti tewaabengawo omulimu gwonna gunaakolebwanga mu paalamenti mu kiseera nga sipiika avudde mu bulamu bw'ensi era nga kino kigenda kukolebwa okulonda sipiika kugenda kukolebwa olunaku Olwokutaano.
Abatula ku kakiiko akateereddwawo okukola ku nteekateeka z'amaziika g'abadde sipiika Jacob Oulanyah galaga nti ekibiina ekya National Resistance Movement kisazeewo olunaku lw'enkya nga 22 bonna bana NRM abeegwanyiza ekifo kino batwaleyo okusaba kwabwe. Olwokusatu olukiiko olw'oku ntiko mu NRM olwasek bajja kusisinkana babeeko bye bateesaako n'okukkaanya ate olwokuna sabbiiti y'emu ababaka b'akabondo ka NRM nabo bajja kusisinkana ate olwokutaano paalamenti yonna etuule okulonda sipiika. Waliwo ababaka babiri okuli ow'essaza lye Remiyaga Simbabule Theodore Sekikubo ne Ibrahim Semujunganda owakira municipality wa Kiso bamaze dda okulaganga bwe beegwanyiza ekifo kino.
Bantu tetuyinza kugamba tuizo kikyusaamu naye mu ngeri y'emu ate eggwanga okukungubaga tuteekwa okukungubaga tuteekwa omuwerekera naye ate eggwanga terijja kuyimirira. Eggwanga lirina okugenda mu maaso. Kati mu ngeri y'emu njagala okutegeeza ababaka ba paalamenti, gavumenti ne bannayuganda bonna nti ng'ekiseera ekituufu kituuse, sigambye kati, ng'ekiseera ekituufu kituuse mbakakasa tewajja kubaawo omuwaatwa, nja kubaawo okwenyigira mu bukulembeze bwa institution eno eya parliament nga mukama ye mbezi wange ate mu ngeri yemu manyi nti no ababaka ba parliament ne Uganda enoonya omubaka anaasobola okuyimirira mu bigere n'ajyamu bulungi okusobola okutaasa eggwanga lino ne parliament ku mayengo amangi ge tuli munokyo byetaaga omuntu omugumu, byetaaga omuntu omukkakamu, kyetaaga omuntu omuteesa. Qualifications ezo nzirina bulungi.
Yaleka asobola okufuuka speaker naye naffe opposition batuwa obwa deputy era bannange ndi mukwogeraganya nabo naye mbwekiza ne tuwa obwa deputy speaker ayitewo wano opposed bwe bagana ebifo byombi nga tubyesimbako era kyembadde ngamba opposition nti buli omu kati tugolole esaati tubasabe tutegeregane bwe bagana okutegeregana ebifo byombi nga tubyesimbako nga tuddeyo wali wetwali naye nga nze ndowooza ku mulundi guno nga tukungubagirwanya kituyinza okukola kwe kukkiriza ne tutegeregana butegereganye ne tutagenda mu byakulwanya ekifo naye nga nakibaddemu musajja wattu naye takyeyagaliddemu.
Kisaliddwawo bwe kiti kubanga okusinziira ku ssemateeka ennyingo ey'ekinaana tewaabengawo omulimu gwonna gukolebwa ku Parliament ng'ekifo kya sipiika kyereere nga kati embeera bweri oluvannyuma lw'okufa kwa Oulanyah kubanga n'okumukungubagira ku Parliament tekusobola kugenda mu maaso ng'ekifo kya sipiika tekiriimu muntu.
Ekintu ekisooka kubeera kulonda sipiika era tewali kikolebwa okujjako okulonda sipiika naye baga mu lutuulo olusooka nti tewali kikolebwa oba nti tewali kikolebwa ofiisi eyo nga nkalu. Mu kiseera kino nga waliwo omumyuka wa sipiika ng'ate yalondebwa babaka yandibadde akola nga sipiika okumala ebbanga ne tumala okukungubagira mukama waffe naye kirabika nti etteeka liri strict n'olwekyo abakulu bagenda kutuula batutegeeze naye nga nze sandyagadde tutandikire ku ekyo. Bayibuli etuyigiriza Yusufu yagamba abaana ba kitaawe nti naye temuyombera mu kkubo. N'olwekyo nsaba bannange baleke kuyombera mu kkubo oba tuleke kuyombera mu kkubo kubanga yamala okutegeera emitima gy'abaana ba kitaawe nanga abaana ba kitange emitima gyabwe ngimanyi. Emikisa gy'okuyombera mu kkubo weegiri kya busezi nga bwe twawulira nti munnaffe ng'akyalina mulwadde ali mu ddwaliro ng'entebe waliwo abagiramuzi abagyagala kyali kikyamu. Twagala okwebaza bonna.
Wabaddewo okukubagana empawa ku ngeri y'amyuka sipiika gy'ayinza okwesimbawo ku bwa sipiika singa ekifo abeera akyagadde.
Awa sipiika constitution temulagira kufuluma ofiisi era temugaana kwesimba ku bwa sipiika. Ndowooza bayinza okuba tebakigenderera tebamanya mbeera efaananako bweti ekigendererwa nti muntu butakozesa bubi ofiisi ye okusobola okwetuusa ku mulimu gw'obwa sipiika naye kati olw'okuba etteeka terimugaana waddembe okuvuganya nga taresigninze bwawangulanga eno ofiisi agitanga tulonda deputy omulala bwe kaba kamukubye ngaddayo wansi ng'amyuka.
Okusinziira ku nnyingo ey'ekinaana ssaabalamuzi oba omulamuzi yenna abaalondeddwa ssaabalamuzi yalina okukubiriza olutuula omulonderwa sipiika era nga kino kisuubirwa okubaawo ku Lwokutaano lwa Ssabbiiti eno. Okusinziira ku nteekateeka oba program ey'ekiseera olunaku olwa Sande Ssabbiiti eno omubiri gw'omugenzi lwe gugenda okukomezebwawo mu ggwanga era olunaku olw'enkya minisita w'ensonga z'obwa President Mary Babalanda wagenda okutangaza eggwanga ku nsonga zino zonna. Shamim Naiga, UBC Parliament.
Ssabawandiisi w'ekibiina kya NRM Richard Todong alangiridde nti munnakibiina yenna awulira nti yandyagadde okukwatira ekibiina bendera mu kuvuganya okujuza ekifo ky'abadde sipiika wa paalamenti ateekeyo okusaba kwe ng'era enteekateeka zigenda kutandika n'olunaku olw'enkya. Ono atubulidde nti ekibiina kyakutula ssabbiiti eno okumaliriza emisoso gyonna egyetaagisa mu kulonda okusuubirwa ku Lwokutaano lwa wiiki eno.
The official burial commences, and one of them is, of course, we need to start the process of electing a new speaker, so that there is a new speaker in the house to receive the body of our brother when he comes, and that is the process that is ongoing. And because of that, government has issued a notice to announce the vacancy of the Speaker of Parliament, and due to that, the party has also started the process of preparing itself to have another speaker elected. The national chairman of the National Resistance Movement Party has called for the meeting of the Central Executive Committee of the party on Wednesday at midday, and after that on Thursday we shall have the caucus meeting, and then we believe, according to the timetable from government, by Friday there will be an election of the speaker, so that by the time the body of our brother arrives, there is a new speaker in office to receive the body and to chair the session of parliament as the body lies in state. Yeah, because of the time frame, because the Central Executive Committee meeting has already been called for Wednesday, and the caucus is for Thursday, and most likely the election is going to take place on Friday, according to the schedules of government. That means the party only has one day to announce the vacancy to its members in parliament, for the members who wishes to contest for the position to express their interest in writing within one day. And we are sure, we know our members, we know everybody, we have their CVs. It's very easy for us now to sieve through those who would have expressed interest. Of course, the most important thing, you have to be a member of the National Resistance Movement Party, which qualifies you to come and pick to express your interest in writing through the party, and that is why the procedures of having this is starting from the party.
Ye President w'ekibiina kya National Unity Platform Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu asabye gavumenti eyongere ku nsimbi zeeteeka mu kitongole ky'ebyobulamu okwewala okusansanya omusimbi omungi ebweru w'eggwanga nga bannayuganda banoonya obujjanjabi. Kyagulanyi abadde ayogera ku nfa y'omugenzi abadde Speaker wa Parliament Jacob Oulanyah eyafiiridde mu ggwanga lya Amerika gy'abadde afuna obujjanjabi.
Mwaka 2017 Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ow'erinnya yakazibwako erya Bobi Wine lwe yayingira paalamenti. Jacob Oulanyah yali omumyuka wa Speaker wa Parliament.
Namanya Honorable Oulanyah nga sinaba kufuuka MP. Namanya Honorable Oulanyah nga mbuzaayo emyaka nga 7 okufuuka member wa Parliament. So era ku kiseera ekyo yali musajja musaazi musajja mukubi wa lwali. Nagenda okuddamu okusinkana Honorable Oulanyah mu Parliament. Ngera musajja musaazi naye nga kuluna ali mu serious.
Robert Kyagulanyi olw'okubanga yali muyimbi yabeerangawo nnyo okusanyusangamu ababaka mu biseera ebimu bwe kyabeeranga kyetaagisizza. Emyaka 2 Kyagulanyi gye yamala ng'akiikirira abakyadondo East mu Parliament gyali gimumala okutegeera abantu bawangala nabo okuli n'omumyuka wa Speaker mu kiseera ekyo Jacob Oulanyah.
Bingi bye tubadde tutakanya naye bino saawa zino twamufiiriddwa, so olw'okuwa ekitiibwa famire ye n'okuwa ekitiibwa abantu be abamwagala, nja budde buno bukozesa kumukungubagira na kugumya abantu be na kumusabira Katonda musonyiwe ebyamusobako.
Kyagulanyi ayagala gavumenti eyongere ku nsimbi zeeteeka mu byobulamu kikyuse ku mbeera eyawaliza Oulanyah okunoonya obujjanjabi mu ggwanga lya Amerika. Oulanyah yafudde ku Sande Gulonga ennaku z'omwezi 2 mu ddwaliro mu ssaza ly'e Seattle mu Amerika.
Kwe kulaba nti tewabaawo Munnayuganda wa kitiibwa ng'Oulanyah addamu kufiira ku mawanga nga teyeetoloddwa abantu be, teyeetoloddwa baŋŋanda ze. Kwe kulaba nti batereza amalwaliro, batereze Lacyo Hospital, batereze Mulago Hospital n'amalwaliro gonna.
Nze Ivan Juko ne Daniel Mugoya waneka mocha.
Ate kyo ekibiina ekitaba bannamateeka ki Uganda Law Society wamu ne bannamateeka balaze okunyolwa olw'okufa kw'abadde akubiriza olukiiko olukulu lw'eggwanga Jacob Oulanyah eyavudde mu bulamu bw'ensi eno olunaku lw'eggulo. Okusinziira kwakulira ekibiina ekitaba bannamateeka Fiona Nambassa, Jacob Oulanyah abadde mpajiruwaga mu kibiina ekitaba bannamateeka era alese eddibu ddene mu by'amateeka.
Olunaku lw'eggulo eggwanga lyaguddemu ekikangabwa oluvannyuma lw'omukubiriza w'olukiiko olukulu lw'eggwanga Jacob Oulanyah okuva mu bulamu bw'ensi eno. Jacob Oulanyah abadde munnamateeka omukuukutivu yali yatiikirira nnyo mu bitundu by'omu mambuka olw'okulwaniriranga eddembe lya bannayuganda naddala ab'omu mambuka ng'ono abadde n'ekibiina kye eky'amateeka ekya Oulanyah Honorary and Company Advocates ng'ayita mu kibiina kino. Oulanyah yagalanga nnyo omuntu wa wansi okufuna obuweereza naddala ng'ensonga zeekuusa ku by'amateeka.
Ng'akyali lawyer muto, ng'akyali pleader muto yakolera eyo ggulu mu project yaffe ya legal aid ya Uganda Law Society. Naye up to now abantu beeyo bakyajjukira emirimu gye yakolanga. Era n'avaawo mu law firm ye na-inspiring abaana abangi okudda ate mu legal aid okuvolunteeringa.
Akulira ekibiina ekitaba bannamateeka ekya Uganda Law Society Fiona Nambassa agamba Jacob Oulanyah abadde kyakulabirako eri bannamateeka abalala naddala bwe kituuka ku by'amateeka.
Bwe yayagalanga ebintu ebikwata ku mateeka Honorable Jacob yatambuzanga ebintu by'amateeka ng'olabira ddala nti kimuli ku mutima.
Okusinziira ku Nambassa, ekibiina ekitaba bannamateeka kyafiiriddwa omukulembeze omuntu w'abantu era ayagala okulaba ng'enkola y'amateeka ebunyisibwa mu buli kimu ky'abadde akola.
Tufiiriddwa omukulembeze ow'amazima, omukulembeze omwogezi nga bw'asobola okwogera wano enjiri etuukira ddala, omukulembeze eyali aweereza nga muweereza w'abantu era tuluddewo nga tumulaba mu different community gatherings ng'akola ebintu ebisinga ng'alina humility. Yalina humility eyo kugamba humility n'empisa obuntu bulamu. Yalina obuntu bulamu bungi nnyo era ffe nga Uganda Law Society tufiiriddwa nnyo, Abannayuganda tufiiriddwa nnyo, tusabira famire ye.
Bannamateeka nabo balaze okunyolwa olw'okuviibwako Jacob Oulanyah ng'ono abadde mu mulimu kisinde ky'ebyamateeka.
Abadde mugezi, abadde akuuma obudde, abadde yeeteekateeka n'asoma. Yonna tubifiiriddwa mu ye. Ate ekirala abadde ayagala nnyo omulimu gwe. Twagala okusaasira ab'ennyumba ye, netusaasira ab'oluganda lwe, twagala okusaasira ennyo eggwanga n'okusinga paalamenti.
Kubanga abadde lawyer, abadde atutte okusoma kwaffe ku level y'obwa speaker kikulu nnyo mu ggwanga muno. Okulaba nti atuuse eyo ye practicing lawyer, kati wuuyo yiire eri na kati tusaba paalamenti enoonye mu lawyer omulala.
Bagamba nga bannamateeka bafiiriddwa kinene nnyo.
Abadde munnamateeka omukukutivu ate eri antama ate nga bwe tutuuka ne ku parliament amazima geetaaga okwogerwa speaker abadde yamastaringa kye bayita rules of parliament.
Jacob Oulanyah yaliko omusomesa ku ttendekero ly'ebyamateeka Elelo Development Center ng'okusinziira ku Nigel Othembi, director w'ettendekero lino agamba Jacob yali muntanywerera ku kigambo kye era omukozi ateebalirira.
And even at the center, his colleagues would always say, oh, by the way, if Jacob was here, this wouldn't happen. If Jacob was here, this that kind of action would be. If Jacob was here, the issues of integrity would be addressed. So he left a mark wherever he was. And even at LDC, he left a legacy. He will always be remembered.
Ze Natong Rebecca, Nena Mamonde Deborah, Abakusaki Debino.
convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay, or Bridge Schools. To pay school fees using FlexiPay, dial *185#. Select option 6 School Fees. Select option 3 FlexiPay. Enter the school code. Enter the student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay, or Bridge Schools. To pay school fees using Airtel Money for Bridge Schools, dial *185#. Select option 6 School Fees. Select option 1 Bridge Schools. Enter pupil ID. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Weewaawo UBC leero ekitundu ekyokubiri kakati ya Ministry y'ensonga z'omunda etaddewo woofiisi ezikwata ku bya passport mu mawanga ag'ebweru kiyambeko bannayuganda abawangaalira ebunaayira okufuna obuweereza obukwata ku nsonga ezo era bategeezezza bannayuganda nti passport enkadde za kukoma okukozesebwa omwezi ogujja.
Bannayuganda abawangaalira wabweru w'eggwanga okuli eggwanga erya Amerika n'amawanga amalala bajja kuba basobola okusaba paasipoota zaabwe oluvannyuma paasipoota zaabwe ziweebwe kampuni ezitambuza ebintu mu mawanga zibatuukeko.
Ebweru w'eggwanga twasookera London ne tugula office e London weeks nga 6 eziise myezi 2 twagulawo passport center e London okukola ku bannayuganda abali eluude eyo. Kati wiiki ejja ku Lwokubiri tugenda kugula office Washington USA. Eno office egenda kukola ku bannayuganda ababeera eyo abakolera eyo babadde beemulugunya ennaku zino nti passport etwalabudde buwanvu bwe ba-applyinze eno naye kati bagenda ku mission yaffe ba-applyinge babajjeko ebinkumu n'ebifaananyi then information ebeera transmitted electronically wano ewaffe ku headquarters tubakolere passport mu bwangu courier ezibatwalire. Ne tubeerayo kati tugenda kugulawo Ottawa Canada, tugenda kugulawo Copenhagen, tugenda kugulawo Beijing, Pretoria South Africa ne wano Abu Dhabi mu United Arab Emirates. Tugenda kubanga tugula offices ezo nga tugezaako okulaba nti bannayuganda gye bali passport tebakalubiriza kufuna.
Era bannayuganda basabiddwa okuzza obujja paasipoota zaabwe enkadde nga zino zikoma okukola mu Apuli ow'omwaka guno.
Abantu bwe baawulira nti tugenda kugyawo paasipooti zino enkadde omwezi ogujja mwaka guno nga 4 ne balowooza nti kati olunaku olwo bwe luyitawo tejja kubeerawo passport ena omuntu afuna passport mu ggwanga. Ate ne bagamba si kituufu. Ekituufu kiri ndi tugenda kuba nga tweyongera kugaba passport naye nga tujja kuba nga tugaba passport zino empya. N'olwekyo nkubiriza Abannayuganda abatali mu bwangu obw'okufuna passport muleme okujja ku passport office okubonaabonera wali kubanga passport zino tujja kubanga tubadde tuzigaba kuvira ddala ku 2018 paka kati ate tukyeyongera okuzigaba n'olwekyo tewajja kubeerawo ekiseera kyonna ekigamba nti passport zino tetugenda kuzigaba buli kiseera buli wofunira need yonna y'okutambula saba passport yo genda mu banka osasule olumala okusasula kola appointment ate jangu ku office ku lunaku lwolwo ebakuwadde n'essaawa bwe bakugamba nti jangu ku ssaawa 2 oba ku ssaawa 3 ezo zennyini z'oba ojja jangu nga wabulayo dakika 30 naye obuzibu bwe tubadde tufuna abantu oluusi nga bali ku appointment olunaku olwenyini naye nga bajje mu budde obukyamu omuntu bamuwadde okujja ssaawa 9 ajja ssaawa 3 obudde kwegamba badde babusoma okifuula nenge omuntu omugambye ssaawa 9 3 pm yalowooza ssaawa 3 ng'ajja ku makya ssaawa 3 nga wali n'olwekyo twagala okukubiriza Abannayuganda mwena we muli nti mukuume obudde bwamwe obw'okugirako wali ku passport office.
Nze Brian Tumwine bya Ruhanga ku lwa UBC leero wano mu Kampala.
UBC leero agono getusobodde okutuusaako kati tweyunga ku munaffe okuva mu kitongole ky'embeera y'obudde atutwale mu maaso katubuulire nate.
Liza nnyo wano ku UBC TV mu kanyomero kano we tukutuusizaako embeera y'obudde. Omwanjuzi nze Lubega Michael. Enkuba etandise okutonya mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebitali bimu. Era weziweredde essaawa 3 ez'enkya ya leero. Jinja yabadde wezezza milimiters 4.7, Kabale milimiters 2, so nga teyo mu Kotido ne mu Arua lwafuuyiridde. Bwe tutunulira ku bifaananyi ebyo ebikubiddwa ku Ssemazinga wa Africa, bitulaga empewo ez'amaanyi okuva mu gabira ag'e Congo nga zoolekera eggwanga lyaffe, okokosa n'empewo ey'omuggundu okuva ku nnyanja y'Ebuyindi nga zoolekera eggwanga lyaffe ekyaleeseewo enkuba okutonya wano na wali mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebitali bimu. Enkya ku makya tusuubirayo enkuba okutonya mu bitundu ebyo ebiri mu bukiikaddyo bw'eggwanga lyaffe nga n'awamu ejja kubanga yeetobesemu okubwatuka okw'eggulu. So nga te mu bukiikakkono ebitundu by'eggwanga ebisinga obungi akasana kajja keera kwaka. Wabula olw'eggulu embeera eno tugisuubira okukyuka era nga tusuubira enkuba okutonya mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebisinga obungi. Nga n'ebbugumu erya waggulu tulisuubira okutuuka ku degrees 32 mu bukiikakkono bw'eggwanga lyaffe, so nga amasekkati g'eggwanga lyaffe n'ebitundu ebyo ebyebulunguludde ennyanja Nalubaale nga n'ekibuga Kampala mu kitwalidde. Ebbugumu erya waggulu tulisuubira okutuuka ku degrees 27. Ate yo mu nsozi ez'e Kabale ebbugumu erya waggulu tulisuubira okutuuka ku degrees 23. Bwe tweyongerayo mu bibuga ebimu ebiri ebusukkansalo bw'eggwanga lyaffe mu New York tusuubira obudde okubeera obw'ekiddedde, so nga ate mu Nairobi ne mu Dar es Salaam tusuubirayo enkuba okutonya. Kyokka nga yo mu Dar es Salaam omusana gujja kwaka nga n'ebbugumu erya waggulu ejja kutuuka ku degrees 34. Ebyo bye tukujjidde mu kitongole ky'eggwanga ekivunaanyizibwa ku mbeera y'obudde wano ku UBC TV n'olunaku lw'enkya tulindire mu budde bwe bumu. Nze Lubega Michael.
Bale nnyo munaffe Lubega Michael, eddakiika ziri 5 zeganye essaawa y'akawungezi. Tusinkane nate olunaku olw'enkya. Nze Marion Nakitene ne Yusuf Senyomo wali ku lulimi olw'obubonero atakuumira mpeera konkuumire abalumizibwa Mukama abanyige.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Be Money Wiser show, where we listen to your financial experiences and relate them to our daily lives.
And through that, we're able to make better decisions and we avoid making mistakes that have already been made. Let's listen into this experience and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Bukira Juliet. I'm working with Mawanda Medical Center, Makindi. The issues of moving, like we are overspending money when we didn't know. For example, when I'm coming from home, I used to move with an extra money, and when I find something on the road, I just buy it. It may not even fit me, but at the end of the day, I waste my money. And in addition to that, not to overspend things, money, like I used not to buy the original things. For example, the shoes and the clothes. For me, I could go to our Downy market and I buy a lot of clothes, but in 3 months they will be all spoiled. But what from this training I've learned that you can buy one dress which is original and you'll be with it for more than 5 years or 3 years, whereby you'll be saving from daily spending on clothes. And after this training, I've learned that buying clothes, the original clothes and shoes, is not for the rich people. It is for everyone. That is a kind of saving, which most of us, we didn't know. But now it's my habit. I'm going to be spending little by little, and I buy something original. The duplicates one, I've already left them.
Actually, I personally relate to her story. I used to be an impulsive shopper.
I can testify.
I used to value more quantity than quality.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, you tend to value quality, because really quality is quality. You can't compromise to that. You rather buy your one quality thing and spend with it 2 years or more than buying 5 different fake stuff, which within 6 months they'll be faded and gone.
Yeah, basically that brings us to how we also make decisions. It might not be about just buying stuff, but a number of things that we do. You do this, you do the other, you touch here, you touch there, and you find you're not doing the best of anything. So the same with products. And it gets worse when it's to someone even who is an impulsive spender, because it means all they will care about is, you know, holding bags as they're coming back from shopping and stuff, changing colors and stuff. And that means those things you're buying are not going to last for long. You have to again go back for shopping, and it becomes a habit. So it would really be better even if you're buying one product, but you're certain that product is going to take you for a while before you need to go back and buy another pair maybe of the same product.
Yes, and of course, speaking of quality, we don't mean that you go all the way in and buy designer, or, you know, there's many quality things out there and affordable. And here you rather, you know, spend your extra money knowing that you're going to have that product for a more extensive time than you spending you know, on many more products, because, you know, of course within a shortest period of time you have to go back and you know, and buy more products. Yes, Tracy, what do you think?
I actually think she has a point when she says she's now chosen quality over quantity, because you can't really be purchasing lots of stuff and then not having any at the end of the day. So it's quality over quantity. That's one step to being money wiser. So she's being money wiser by choosing quality over quantity.
You see, it's about compromising. There are certain things that you don't have to compromise, and that's quality. You don't have any other way to go about it.
No shortcuts.
Yeah, because you will go for these products thinking they are cheap, but in the end they will be more expensive.
More expensive if
you have to buy it over and
over. The market is very tricky. It will offer you a lot of options.
Exactly.
So it will be up to you. You go to a market and you find there is a cow of 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million. So it's about you. You will buy a car of 10 million or 5 million, but the maintenance of the car will triple the expense of someone who bought a new car.
That I understand.
So basically compromising is not in any way a good thing, and anything to do with quality, really you need to think twice before you compromise the quality of the things that you're going to use. And when it comes to the products, it's even worse, because you never know even the products that you're going to use. Some people even compromise on food, you know. So you might compromise and you eat cheap food. I'm not saying you should go expensive, but the expense that you put into, for example, treat yourself when you fall sick will be very expensive. So at all times we really need to strike a balance to make sure that as far as we are still trying to make sure that we don't you know, buy things that are too expensive, at the same time we don't go too low to things that are not up to standard.
You know, I've actually learned that eating healthy is being money wiser.
Wow.
Because you know, if you eat healthy, there you won't, you know, you won't be exposed to diseases that you know,
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
You by.
We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
A very warm welcome and a very good evening. This is our first edition of UBC News Tonight. Now, as the country still continues to be in a somber and sad mood after the loss of our speaker, we bring you the news, of course, straight from our headquarters that is on Nile Avenue. Now, we first start off the news bulletin with first the headlines. Now, in our first headlines, President Yoweri Museveni directs that all flags fly at half-mast. And then we have the position of the Speaker falls vacant. And not forgetting the NRM party calls for expression of interest for speakership race. And finally, the opposition eulogized fallen Speaker of Parliament with a call on bringing health services closer. Now we start off with our first headlining story for the evening. President Yoweri Museveni has defined the untimely death of the Speaker of Parliament as a great loss to Uganda. He extended condolences to the family and all Ugandans and directed that all flags fly at half-mast. Wrote on his Twitter handle, said, yesterday at about 12:40 p.m. it was my sad duty to announce the untimely death of our Speaker, the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, MP for Omoro. Today, it continues to say that today I add the following. Number one, I extend my condolences, the condolences of the family and of all Ugandans to the children of Oulanyah and to his wider family. The government and the NRM will always stand with them. I will say more about Right Honourable Oulanyah in the coming days. He says, I have activated the National Organizing Committee and the Honorable Babalanda to organize the official burial of the late Speaker. They know what to do. Thirdly, I have directed that the flags in Uganda fly at half-mast until the burial of the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah. This is provided for in the official burial procedures. More will be said and communicated as we go along. Signed, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the General President and Chairman of the NRM. The Cabinet has declared the position of the Speaker of Parliament vacant following the demise of the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, announced at the media briefing the Cabinet resolution taking in account the burial arrangements of the departed Speaker of Parliament, the late Jacob Oulanyah. Now, the Uganda Constitution, Article 82 states that the subject to Article 81, Clause 4 of the Constitution say no business shall be transacted at Parliament other than an election to the election of the Speaker at any time of office is vacant. We have the details in this report.
The sitting of Cabinet today at State House Entebbe, which was chaired by His Excellency the President, Cabinet took note of the announcement by the President, which he made yesterday, the 20th of March 2022, and also the communication he again made today. And in these communications, particularly the one of yesterday, he did announce the death of the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, which definitely means that the vacancy for position of Speaker, that the position of the Speaker is now vacant because our Speaker of Parliament has died. Now, pursuant to the Uganda Constitution, Article 82(4), that states that subject to Article 81(4) of this Constitution, that's the Constitution of Uganda, no business shall be transacted in Parliament other than an election to the office of Speaker at any time that office is vacant. Now, pursuant to that provision of the Constitution, Cabinet took a decision that the Parliament of Uganda shall convene on Friday this week, the 25th of March 2022, to fill the vacancy of the Speaker. The Cabinet of Uganda further took note of the provisions of the Parliamentary Pensions Act 2011 that provide for the funeral arrangements for a Speaker or Deputy Speaker who dies in office. So that means that the Speaker shall be accorded a state funeral, and also we shall fulfill all the provisions of the law as provided.
The Secretary General of the ruling NRM party, Richard Tadwong, has alerted all party members in Parliament to express interest for the position of Speakership of the 11th Parliament, which fell vacant after the demise of the Speaker, the late Jacob Oulanyah. Tadwong has notified all members that the party will in due course convene to lay down modalities for the flagship process, as voting for the Speaker is tentatively scheduled for Friday this week. We have more.
It is true that now the office of the Speaker is vacant.
Finally, the debate on when the position of the Speaker of the 11th Parliament will be filled seems to be freezing as plans continue being unveiled.
Before the official burial commences. And one of them is, of course, we need to start the process of electing a new Speaker so that there is a new Speaker in the House to receive the body of our brother when he comes. And that is the process that is ongoing. And because of that, government has issued a notice to announce the vacancy of the Speaker of Parliament, and due to that, the party has also started the process of preparing itself to have another Speaker elected.
The NRM Secretary General Richard Tadwong has addressed UBC on the progress.
The National Chairman of the National Resistance Movement Party has called for the meeting of the Central Executive Committee of the party on Wednesday at midday. And after that, on Thursday, we shall have the caucus meeting. And then we believe, according to the timetable from government, by Friday, there will be an election of the Speaker. So that by the time the body of our brother arrives, there is a new Speaker in office to receive the body and to chair the session of Parliament as the body lies in state.
Tadwong now alerts all party members to start expressing interests starting this Tuesday.
Because of the time frame, because the Central Executive Committee meeting has already been called for Wednesday, and the caucus is for Thursday, and most likely the election is going to take place on Friday, according to the schedules of government. That means the party only has one day to announce the vacancy to its members in Parliament, for the members who wishes to contest for the position to express their interest in writing within one day. And we are sure, we know our members, we know everybody, we have their CVs. It's very easy for us now to sieve through those who would have expressed interest.
According to the pattern government, the whole House of Parliament will convene this Friday to elect the Speaker, a position the ruling NRM is convinced will have to secure using its numerical strength in the 11th Parliament. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Following the death of Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oulanyah, Article 82 of the Constitution states that no business can be carried out when the position of Speaker is vacant. Currently, several legislators are bracing up for the election. Several meetings have been held at Parliament, and available information shows that election of the Speaker will be conducted on Friday the 25th this week.
As the country waits the return of the body of Speaker Jacob Oulanyah, business at Parliament is on hold owing to Article 82 of the Constitution that bars Parliament from conducting any business when Speaker's office is vacant. This means that until a new Speaker is elected, there will not be any business in Parliament.
Speaker and Deputy. Although the text seems to differ from the spirit, what I've explained is the spirit of this law. But the text seems to be strict. So we shall wait for the leadership of Parliament to give us guidance as we move. I'm not one of those that are anxious to hurry in electing a speaker. My view is that we need a mourning period to have a good send-off for our brother, and then we come back to business.
Fortunately, because of the importance of Parliament, we must constitute Parliament even before the mourning continues.
Some legislators have already showed interest for the position of the Speaker. It is not clear, though, whether the Deputy Speaker, Anita Mong, will contest.
It is me, the last man standing. And for those who got their positions, let them maintain those positions. Unless you talk about greed, but they haven't even warmed up their seats. It is only me who has remained standing. It is me who is available. And now that it is these circumstances that finds me able and available, I'll certainly offer myself at the appropriate time.
We should provide candidates to both offices, and I have told my colleagues, and I will call them, if there is nobody in opposition who wants to stand either for deputy, of course I can only offer myself to one. For me, I am available, because we can't allow NRM to nominate themselves and just sit to watch. So I am consulting with the head of opposition. I hope we'll be able to provide candidates, but if you can arrive at consensus, that will be the best for this Parliament.
It does not require the Deputy Speaker to reside if she wants to contest. It is specific on who should. Again, that's another question of the letter and spirit. Because apparently it was envisaging a situation where there is no speaker. I mean, somebody would ask, why would it require us to resign, including those that are less in hierarchy? But because it does not require her to resign, she's not required to resign.
So she can still vie for the position?
Absolutely. When she wins, of course, she vacates automatically. We elect a deputy. If she loses, she goes back to her seat.
Article 81 states that the Chief Justice or a judge designated by the Chief Justice shall preside on election of Speaker. This means also that the ruling NRM party, which has majority members in the House, will select a successor to the deceased. Available information shows that the NRM party has set Tuesday 22nd as the date for expression of interest for the position of Speaker. Then, on Wednesday, SEC will meet, and then Thursday, NRM Parliamentary Caucus will convene. On Friday, 25th, election of the Speaker will be conducted. These are some of the MPs that have already showed interest. On the other hand, actually, MPs say it's not proper to start campaigning while the country is still mourning the death of Speaker Jacob Lokore Oulanyah. Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, is set to address the nation tomorrow on the burial program of the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Shamim Naiga, UBC News.
Now, earlier on, we did interact with the Bujiri Municipality Member of Parliament, Osman Basalirwa, who shared with us an insight on when and how the Speaker of Parliament can be filed under such circumstances of his absence arising from death. Take a look.
First of all, I want to express my sympathies to the people of Uganda, the Parliament of Uganda, the people of Omoro upon the loss of the Speaker. It is a very sad moment for the country, and we pray that the Almighty God strengthens everybody in these difficult times. Number two, it is true that now the office of the Speaker is vacant. The Constitution is very clear. No business can be transacted in Parliament if that office is vacant. And if there is any business to be conducted, that business must be about election of a Speaker. And the Constitution gives that responsibility to the Chief Justice. So it is now up to the Chief Justice to take charge of the situation, provide the guidance, give guidelines and regulations to be followed. Otherwise, there is nothing that can happen on the floor of the House. Nobody can call any parliamentary sitting to discuss any matter unless there is a speaker in place.
Then, Honorable, is there a time frame given for this? We all know the Speaker, the dead Speaker has to come to Parliament.
No, there is no time frame. The Constitution does not give any time frame. although circumstances demand that it should be treated as a matter of urgency. Otherwise, there will be a crisis if Parliament is unable to convene to discuss matters of the country. Secondly, it will be an embarrassment if the body of the late Speaker comes and it cannot be taken to Parliament to pay tribute simply because there is no Speaker. So even if the law is silent on the timelines, it is a matter of urgency. And I only hope that those responsible regard it as a matter of urgency and immediately set into process of electing the Speaker.
Can in this case the Chief Justice preside over the session to honor the dead Speaker?
Now, the National Unity Platform Party President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu has asked government to empower the health sector of Uganda and avoid future expenses of acquiring health treatment abroad. Kyagulanyi reflects on the recent sadness of the death of the former Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, who died from the United States of America, having gone to attend to medical treatment. We have more in this report.
In 2017, the former celebrated Ugandan musician Kyagulanyi Ssentamu alias Bobby Wine took interest to participate in a by-elections in Kyadondo East, which saw the Kamwech-raised and dubbed ghetto leader walk out with a milestone victory. By then, the late Jacob Oulanyah was the Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
When I met him at Parliament, it was just the second time. I had met him some 5 years or more before. He was a jolly guy, and when I met him at Parliament, he was, more serious, but still a humorous person.
Robert Kyagulanyi, who is a musician by profession, was always present to entertain the teammates at Parliament whenever needed.
We danced paka chini, we had fun, but now it's just a memory.
The 2 years Kyagulanyi spent in the August House were enough for him to describe the positive legacy of his former boss, the late Jacob Oulanyah.
We are the kinds of people that want people to be free to express themselves, although we always encourage them to do so respectfully.
Kyagulanyi wants government to put focus and emphasis on improving the health sector to that standard where the late Oulanyah went to seek for specialized treatment. This, to Bobby, will equip the Ugandan health infrastructure to handle emergencies.
Acholi land has lost a noble son, but it also reminds us of the need to fix our health care because, he passed away in Seattle, away from his children, from his loved ones. And yet we could have fixed our hospitals. And
the late Jacob Oulanyah died on March 20th, 2022 from a hospital in the United States of America. Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
President of the Forum for Democratic Change Party, Engineer Patrick Amuriatoboy, has urged government to consider increasing investment in the health sector, saying it is regrettable that the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, had to die abroad while receiving treatment. Addressing a press conference at the party headquarters in Najanankumbi, Party President Oboy said the party has suspended all its activities to mourn the death of the fallen Speaker of Uganda Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah.
Has joined the rest of Ugandans to mourn the death of the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, who died on Sunday at 10:45 a.m. East African time in the state of Seattle in the United States of America. FDC President Patrick Amuriatoboy praised the late as a gifted politician whose oratory abilities were unmatched by very many politicians in the country.
Whose respect for diverse political opinions was evident in the manner in which he gave equal opportunities to members of parliament on either side of the political divide. We remember Jacob as a competent lawyer and social worker who exuded benevolence and was always on the side of the law.
According to Amuriat, the late's political career started at Macquarie University when he was elected Speaker of Students' Guild in 1990 under the leadership of Honorable Norbert Mao, currently President General of the Democratic Party. Despite his contribution to nation building, Oboy said that it was regrettable that the late Speaker Jacob Oulanyah died from abroad while on treatment.
That Right Honorable Oulanyah, like a number of prominent Ugandans, had to die while receiving treatment abroad, which continues to expose the poor health care facilities or systems in the country and necessitates the constant call on the NRM government to put more resources to the improvement of health facilities in the country.
FDC has postponed its mobilization activities in northern Uganda and will not discuss the issue of by-elections until the mourning and burial for the late is done.
Case is that if there is an election of the Speaker, and this is what I would want to see as the Chief Executive, that we participate as the FDC. My appeal would have been, if it is not legally fatal that the NRM stops the process of election of Speaker until such a time that the Right Honorable Oulanyah Jacob Lokori is buried.
I'm Nafka Farida and Kenneth Tanaba at Najana Nkumbi.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we'll return with more stories.
Need to send money to a loved one but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for yaka or water but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Government of Uganda, through the Uganda Bureau of Statistics (UBOS), is undertaking nationwide census mapping aimed at providing an up-to-date list of enumeration areas and administrative units in the country ahead of the National Population and Housing Census of 2023. The UBOS field teams will be using Global Positioning Systems (GPS) for mapping all administrative infrastructure, households and other facilities such as hotels, schools, hospitals and water sources to facilitate production of the updated LC1, parish, sub-county and district area maps showing all the physical features and social amenities. The census mapping will further aid development of a countrywide data for information systems as a pillar for effective implementation of the parish development model. This is to appeal to the entire government leadership, all stakeholders and the general public to support the field teams that will be deployed across the country. Announced by Dr. Chris Ndatira Muchiza, the Executive Director and Chief Statistician For further clarifications, please contact the Office of the Executive Director on 0755 342 128.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay, or Bridge Schools. To pay school fees using Airtel Money for Bridge Schools, dial *185 #. Select option 6, School Fees. Select option 1, Bridge Schools. Enter pupil ID. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, will grace the official launch of compensation payments of the confirmed livestock claimants stemming from the insurgencies that ravaged and adversely impacted the northern and eastern parts of the country, especially in Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions, starting with the 1979 Liberation War. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, together with the affected local government authorities, established a verification committee to evaluate, ascertain, and confirm the genuineness of the livestock claims to be compensated by the government. The launch of the payments exercise will take place on Saturday, 26th March 2022 at Soroti University Grounds, Soroti City, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is a confirmation of the NRM government's commitment and concern towards restoring and improving the economic welfare of the war-affected communities in these sub-regions.
When COVID came, it felt like it destroyed everything my mom had built. She was ready to let go of her dreams. But when one door shuts, a window opens. She grabbed her last money and took a leap of faith. She refused to give up. So with a bit of daring and Grandma's secret recipe, her business was back. And not just bigger, beyond her wildest imagination.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still watching UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazumoto, together with Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. Now we continue with our news stories tonight. The mood at the home of the fallen Speaker of Parliament in Muyenga, a Kampala suburb, remains somber, with very few people, mainly the family members and friends. There was no activity at the home of the fallen Speaker of Parliament at Muyenga by press time. Only grief-stricken songs kept playing the whole day, with few people coming in, most of whom were family members and friends. We have the details.
It was a moment of grief for the family members and friends that paid a visit to the home of the fallen Speaker of Parliament at Muyenga. By press time, there was no government official or members of parliament or an official of the paramount chief of Acholi at Muyenga. There were only few people who thronged Oulanyah's home. One of those few friends that came to the home of the fallen Speaker of Parliament at Muyenga was a renowned veteran journalist, Andrew Mwenda. He described Oulanyah as an intelligent person who was going to make Parliament great.
He was an incredible intellectual, a robust intellectual, because we would spend hours debating politics, national, local, regional, global. And he also had, which is I think an aspect of the Acholi people, he was a very frank person. He was very straightforward. He could never say to you one thing and he does another. His no was a no, his yes was a yes.
Mwenda, who says he was close to Oulanyah for 28 years, described him as a kind man.
I met Jacob when he was a practicing lawyer around about 1994 when I was a first year student at university. And we instantly became friends. He was, my dad had been a senior supporter of UPC and he was also a UPC supporter, so we were united through that history. And we became very good friends. So when I was a young journalist, I used to come to visit me a lot before he became an MP.
Others who were present include former CID boss Grace Akulo, Director Operation AIGP Edward Ochom, Director Crime Intelligence Brigadier General Christopher Damulira. Later in the evening, a few government officials, including some ministers, arrived at the home of the fallen Speaker of Parliament. And prayers are underway at the home. Philip Aguta, UBC News in Muyenga.
Wonderful friend of mine, someday I'll meet him in the skies. This wonderful friend of mine, he saves.
Former Chief Justice of Uganda, Bart Mugunda Katurebe, has described the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, as a man who was promising and a well-established legal brain. His eulogy is complementary to that of a section of members of Parliament who have described the deceased Speaker as irreplaceable.
Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah had been our Vice Chair for the NRM in northern Uganda.
One legislator after another, Jacob Oulanyah has been remembered with such befitting eulogies.
Because it has happened is a serious issue, but what I have seen here is this is too much, because to lose a speaker who is number 3 in this country like this is not okay.
We as people of Bududa, we have made a big loss because the late Right Honorable Oulanyah was our in-law.
The latest public figure to join Ugandans in mourning the fallen Speaker of Parliament is former Chief Justice of Uganda, Bart Mugunda Katurebe.
It's a very sad day for all of us, I think. First, of course, my condolences to his immediate family, to his colleagues in Parliament, to his constituents, but really to the whole country.
Katurebe, who recalls his countless encounters with the deceased, regards him as an established legal brain with a promising future.
Both in the legal profession and in his political career. So I think that we've lost someone at such a young age, when actually that's when he would be building up on his political career.
No wonder his death is considered the real meaning of untimely, to the extent that Uganda has lost a lot.
Jacob Oulanyah was, compared to me, I think was a young person. Because if he was born in 1965, that's when I was in Senior 1. So I was already 15 in Senior 1 and when he was being born. But you can see he has gone too soon.
As the country mourns the fallen son of the soil, Katurebe calls for unity to have the deceased successfully given a befitting send-off.
There is need for us to get together because death comes to all of us. Today it is Jacob, tomorrow it is me, tomorrow it is somebody else. It doesn't matter. Death does not know titles, does not know age.
Jacob Lokori Oulanyah, who became the Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament in May 2021, died at Seattle in the United States of America. Henry Okurut, UBC.
The retired judge of the Supreme Court, Professor George Kanyeihamba, has described the late Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, who passed on Sunday in the United States of America, as a man of principles who loved others, something he says was so tangible in his service as Deputy Speaker of Parliament for over a decade. Let's watch the memorable counts of Professor Kanyeihamba about the late Jacob Oulanyah.
I also saw him, as you have seen in that video, when he came to be guest of honor at the launching of my book, Evolution of Constitutional Law, Public Law and the Government. That's when I last saw him, talked to him. Jacob Oulanyah will live in the history of Uganda as a great giant or performer who made many changes possible. He was not fearless. He was loyal to his parties. From time to time, he was a member of UBC, and then latterly of the NRM. And none of the supporters of the UBC or NRM can accuse him of hypocrisy or having betrayed their respective principles. That is the measure of the man we are talking about. I want you to remember the greatest contributor to human development, Jesus Christ, who we Christians call the Son of God, lived on us for only 3 years. He was 33. But what he achieved was enormous. If we Christians, we can say he was like Jesus. He lived for a short while, but his message will endure forever. Even as Deputy Speaker to Honorable Kadaga, Oulanyah was striking a very, very wonderful picture of integrity, honesty, and courage. Often he quarreled with his boss, Just Kadaga. I'm told he had founded the chambers with someone else, but it is Oulanyah, Jacob, who comes through as a great performer. So his contribution to the legal profession was enormous, even though he didn't live very long. Where he lived longest was as Deputy Speaker of Parliament. And there, with Kadaga, they left great history of work. And the future parliaments will build on their legacy, and rather attempts to do right. Oulanyah was an embodiment of those qualities and values. And certainly, as a nation, we shall miss a lot about him, but we will have learned a great deal more for the better or betterment of our country. He was a truly nationalist, a man of his word, and like me, he loved keeping time. He was revolutionary in Parliament, so that all members would start calm at time. I think we should take him and emulate him as an example of what public service is about, what service to a country means and what role each individual can play in the development.
The Inspector General of Police, Martin Jones Okoth-Ochola, has eulogized the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, whose support and contribution to Uganda Police Force has described as immense. IGP's message was read by the police spokesperson, Fred Enanga.
The Inspector General of Police, on behalf of the police fraternity, extended sympathies and deepest condolences to the family, friends, members of parliament, staff, colleagues, and constituents of the Right Honourable Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah, who passed on yesterday. We all know that the Right Honourable Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah, was a very formidable, distinguished and outstanding leader who was respected and admired in the Uganda Police Force for his kindness and tremendous generosity of spirit. So even today we continue to mourn his passing. He left a legacy as a fighter for this country. His fundamental good and honor will always live on. As the UPF, we offer our gratitude to him for his vision, commitment, and support towards building a police force that is admirable in Uganda. We shall forever remain proud and grateful to the Right Honourable Speaker Jacob Oulanyah. May his soul rest in eternal peace and glory.
Legislators from Northern Uganda under the umbrella caucus, the Northern Uganda Parliamentary Caucus, continue to break down in tears as they make a tale count of how special the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, was to them.
The country is in grief following the death of the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, who passed on yesterday in Seattle, USA. At Parliament, the mood is somber following the death of the head of the institution. Security personnel, staff, journalists, MPs are seemingly disheartened, discussing in groups.
Everybody in the world, I weep with my depth heart. I pray that everybody in Uganda now, those ones who are ready to condone with us, please condone with us.
As a gentleman who was very time conscious, was a very good timekeeper. Whenever he would be in chair, you would see everybody panicking in committees, because at 2, he would even come before the bell rings. So we shall miss him.
All flags at Parliament flew at half-mast following the President's directive for all flags in the country to fly at half-mast until the fallen Speaker is buried. Legislators from the Acholi sub-region have described Oulanyah as a hard-working person they will miss dearly.
Fortunately, we have lost him. And as a member of the Acholi parliamentary group, we knew the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah as a very firm, very principled, and very honest guy. And for me, who worked with the local government for about 15 years, I enjoyed working with him. He was more of a bridge. Every time I needed help as a local government leader, I would run to him.
Oulanyah came up so boldly and spoke about corruption before His Excellency the President. He told the President that I am corrupt. Everybody in Uganda is corrupt. My wife is corrupt. Everybody is corrupt. Can anybody who think he is not corrupt come up and say, yes, I'm not corrupt? Oulanyah was so a bold man. Oulanyah didn't fear anybody.
Oulanyah, who was also MP for Moro County, Moro District, died at the age of 57 and was elected as Speaker on 21st May 2021.
Please, I stand here to apologize if he has done anything wrong to you. And for those who have done wrong to Oulanyah, we have forgiven you. We have forgiven you. I speak as a mother. I speak as a woman who have lost a son. I've lost my brother. I've lost him. Oulanyah is irreplaceable.
Shamim Naiga, Gloria Gutabenji, UBC News.
Very sad seeing emotional faces speaking about the late Speaker of Parliament. Now moving on, the LDC Director Nigel Otembi was beaten to a pulp after the news of the demise of his close friend, also the Speaker of the 11th Parliament, the Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah. Otembi and Oulanyah went to Makerere University and have been friends for quite some time until his death parted the two on the 20th of March 2022. Sharon Chomugisha with the report.
The first time I got to know Jacob was about almost 34 years ago, when we both joined Makerere University in 1988 as freshmen. And we kind of gravitated towards each other because we were part of this group of idealistic youth who thought you could change so many things. And we were all part of student leadership at the university. So we became friends, and in our subsequent years, we took up various leadership positions. I was chairman of University Hall and chair of the Council of Chairmen. Jacob was the guild speaker at Makerere. Mao was the guild president, and a number of our other friends were involved in student politics. So we started off as friends and as student activists. And it culminated in a time when we had a strike at the university, when we were rising up against the increased cost of education and the increased demands being put on students to have to contribute towards their education. We had been used to the fact that university education is really free. So it came up from there. And after our university years, Jacob did economics at that time. Later, he went back and studied law. And we remained friends out in the field. We watched each other grow as far as our professions were concerned. And we have always continued to interact right up to the very end.
Why did you think he changed from being an agriculture economist?
Yes.
Yes, to law.
I can't really speculate about what drove him, but for one, many of his friends were lawyers, a good number of us. And then after that strike I talked about, there was a certain justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Harold Platt, who rest in peace, who has since passed on. And Platt became a close mentor to Jacob and to many of we young people at that time. And incidentally, if it was not for Platt, we wouldn't even be where we are today, because there was a recommendation that all those who were involved in the strike, the student leaders, should be expelled from the university. And Platt chaired a commission that looked into the issues and said, look, yes, these people might have made mistakes, but they had some issues. They had some real grievances. And after that commission, which eventually exonerated us, we continued being friends. And I think as a lawyer and as a justice of the Supreme Court, he was one of the people who really inspired Jacob. And he was particularly fond of Jacob, and they were really, really close. So Jacob went back, studied law, joined Standard Chartered Bank. So he was doing both his passions, both law and economics. And I think over the years, both professions have really served him well. Where do you start and where do you end? Jacob was a friend you could rely on. You could trust his word. If he told you, yes, Frank, I can do this, he would do it. And if he tells you I can't do it, you know he wouldn't be able to do it. He was a reliable person. He stood by his friends. He had your back. In whatever situation, you knew that Jacob would stand there for you. Jacob was also brutally honest. We know that in Uganda, there's this saying that the Wachiga are very honest and straight-speaking people. In that regard, I would say Jacob was a Mchiga from Acholiland. Yes, he was that kind of person, brutally honest with people. He didn't suffer fools easily. He got very irritated by people who were not meeting up to his standards in terms of keeping time, in terms of the quality of service delivery. He would get quite irritated. But he had two sides to him. He was also a very loving person, very caring, very mentoring. And Jacob was somebody who could talk to people from all ages, right? From the youthful teenagers to the people who are in their 80s and 90s. And he would fit across that. He would fit across every economic sphere. He can sit in a Malwa joint just as comfortably as he would sit at Serena and have a cup of tea. So he's somebody who mixed with everyone. Jacob was very strict with standards.
Now moving on, veteran legislator Cecilia Atimugwal has described the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, as a giant who has left a footprint in the politics of Uganda. Cecilia Agwal, who went emotional, said the late Speaker was one of the best legislators the country had, adding that Oulanyah was a master in a type of debate called field busting, a skill possessed by few. Take a look.
If you come and shout even for a whole week and you have not touched any of the things that have meaning to me, the day you leave is the day I forget you.
Born on the 23rd of March 1965 in Gulu district, Jacob Lokori Oulanyah, now the late, was a member of Uganda People's Congress. Veteran legislator Cecilia Atimugwal recalls how she caught up with the fallen speaker as a student leader.
The kind of leadership that we wanted, and indeed I was not disappointed.
Ugwal said she first wept when Oulanyah was shot at during a strike at Makerere.
And Jacob was one of those injured. He lost one of his friends, a boy from Acholi. The boy died in that student protest, but Oulanyah was one of those injured. I always looked to him as my child. I would give him assignment as I would give to any of my children. He would do it.
Oulanyah, who began politics as a student, was elected MP for Moro County in 2001, although he did not make it in 2006.
It was not because he was a weak politician to have lost that election. But the Achulis and the Langis and everybody at that time were not very comfortable about the manner in which the government handled the northern affairs. And so he was a victim of circumstances.
In 2011, he reclaimed the seat, which he held until he breathed his last on 20th.
And when you see Oulanyah getting tough, there is something wrong, and fundamentally wrong. And Oulanyah would engage the government and sometimes get the government to change its way and comply to the law. So Oulanyah helped the government a lot.
Ogwal says Oulanyah was a giant in the politics of Uganda and a master in a type of debate called filibustering.
Engage Parliament and get Parliament to keep quiet and listen to you. You are talking very powerfully on a matter, and people are listening and nodding and nodding. And then you go on the other side, people are nodding. You say, this is a very balanced person. Eventually, when you say I, you haven't understood what you have said. That is, we are going to miss it in this, even this Parliament, we are going to miss it because I haven't seen it on anyone.
What else will be missed from the person of Jacob Oulanyah?
Understanding the rules of procedure.
Oulanyah is very frank. Oulanyah will tell you the truth of what is supposed to be done.
I love the way he was very flexible, the way he was studying the wind of politics.
Make a balanced argument, you will be able to convince rather than force people to follow his ideas.
Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Uganda Law Society and the legal fraternity has mourned the death of Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oulanyah, who passed away yesterday in Seattle State in the USA. The president, Uganda Law Society, Fiona Nabasa Wall, applauded the late Jacob Oulanyah's contribution towards Uganda Law Society.
The Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, yesterday Sunday morning passed on while in America, where he was rushed to save a life. Besides being a leader, Speaker Jacob Oulanyah was also a professional lawyer in making. Jacob Oulanyah was an experienced and professional lawyer who rendered legal services through Oulanyah and Oulanyah Company Advocates.
A good lawyer, a good advocate. He's remembered so well during the time of the war in the north. He spearheaded legal aid to be provided to the people of the north in the years between 1998 and 2001.
If you remember, when he handled
I think the most celebrated case was the case of Candida Lakonyi. This is a woman who was pulled out by some thugs and taken to a military barracks. Jacob Oulanyah cross-examined in that matter, and that's when he earned my admiration and respect. You would see that this is a brilliant lawyer.
He was passionate about legal aid, and earlier in his career he served in the legal aid project of Uganda Law Society in Gulu, and he did a lot of work there. And I think that inspired him, because later on he inspired a lot of young people that worked for him in his law firm to join the legal aid project.
Fiona Nabasawol, President, Uganda Law Society, recalls fallen Speaker Oulanyah as a pillar to Uganda Law Society.
He served as a council member for Uganda Law Society for 2 terms from 1998 to 2000. He was very passionate about legal aid. Actually, he was a man of passion, as I said. When he was passionate about something, it was very evident. When it was NRM, it was NRM. When it was Acholi people, it was Acholi people. When it was being passionate about the law and rule of law and especially legal aid and increasing access to justice for the indigent, that was something that he really led with.
Speaker Jacob Oulanyah was a friend, a mentor, a person who embraced the rule of law, and a role model to everyone, especially the younger lawyers.
And he used to talk about mindset change and the need for you to look at yourself, to look at the man in the mirror and address the corruption there, so that you have the moral authority to deal with corruption. And I think one of the things he used to tell us is that if none of us has the moral authority to fight corruption, then nobody will. And I'm hoping that as we remember him, we'll take a personal soul check and see whether we need our mindset changed. We see whether we review the way we're addressing things like corruption in society.
A good supporter of ULS, Uganda Law Society, he even gave us some money to build that ULS house.
The death of Speaker Jacob Oulanyah has affected lawyers in the legal fraternity.
So we are going to miss him. He has been having the law at his fingertips. He has been having the constitution at his fingertips. He has been having the rules of procedure of parliament at his fingertips. He has been a good chair in the proceedings of parliament. He has been on the spot in directing members of parliament in issues to do with the law as far as presiding over parliamentary proceedings are concerned.
An intelligent speaker. We have missed a good leader. Oulanyah would make mistakes, like all of us. But there is no single mistake he made in ignorance, because he would always read and grasp. He had a grasp of the law, especially the rules of procedure of parliament. Whenever you met him outside parliament, especially when he was unwell, he would tell you he would miss his bow tie and the rules of procedure. And at some point, the deputy speaker teased him and said, "I will appoint you chairman of the rules committee, since you love the rules so much." And he had mastered the rules.
Jacob Oulanyah was also lectured at Law Development Center, who left a legacy in whatever he did. Adhan Gelo Thombi, director Law Development Center, highlights.
And even at the center, his colleagues would always say, "Oh, by the way, if Jacob was here, this wouldn't happen. If Jacob was here, this kind of action would be. If Jacob was here, the issues of integrity would be addressed." So he left a mark wherever he was. And even at LDC, he left a legacy. He will always be remembered.
Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Well, thank you so much for your company, and thank you so much for being part of this bulletin where we've been eulogizing the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. Do join us for another edition at 10 p.m. UBC News Tonight. We'll leave you with weather forecast for tomorrow by Maureen Kenyana. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on Sign Language Interpretation. We will see you at 10.
Hello, good evening. Glad you had a wonderful day. Today we have celebrated the World International Forestry Day. Tomorrow we shall have the World Water Day, and on 23rd we shall celebrate the World Meteorological Day as the Ministry of Water and Environment in Mbarara at Mayor's Gardens. Back to today's weather, we've had different parts of the country have rains. Jinja reported 4.7 millimeters, Kawale 2 millimeters, Kotido 0.3, and Arua reported 0.1 millimeters. From the satellite image that is taken over our continent, it indicates that the rain belt is covering some parts of our country, most especially in the southern sector. We also have a push of moist winds from Congo forests towards our country, and also moist winds are coming from Indian Ocean towards Uganda, contributing to these wet activities in different parts of Uganda. For tomorrow morning, we shall have a pickup of showers for areas in the southern sector of our country, in the lake, together with areas in West Nile. Elsewhere, we shall have sunny intervals prevail. Later in the afternoon, we shall have a pickup of showers in different parts of our country, apart from a few areas in northwestern and southwestern Uganda, where we shall have sunny intervals. The maximum temperatures are expected to go up to 32 degrees centigrade for the northern sector, together with the Karamoja region. Around the lake, we shall have temperatures up to 27 degrees centigrade. For Kampala, it will be at 26 degrees centigrade. Kabale Highlands, a maximum of just 23 degrees is expected. If you intend to go beyond Uganda, we shall have showers in Dar es Salaam and Nairobi, and a temperature of 34 degrees centigrade in Dar es Salaam. Cairo and New York will experience sunny intervals, whereas Amsterdam will have sunny conditions and a temperature of 18 degrees centigrade. Thank you for keeping us company. Join us tomorrow for another edition of The Weather. Have a wonderful night ahead of you.
Connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only Uganda shillings, with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Our Ugandan story isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
Are you a consumer? Do you purchase movable second-hand items such as motor vehicles, household items, and many others? Don't be cheated. Carry out a search on the Simple registry and verify whether the property you're buying has been used to secure a loan. Simple is the security interest in movable property registry system. It is an online registry hosted by URSB for registration of security interests on movable property. For more information, call us on our toll-free number 0800-100006 or log on to simple.ursb.go.ug. Simple, safer lending, easier borrowing.
This message was brought to you by Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Uganda Business and Technical Examinations Board, UBTEB, is celebrating 10 years of remarkable progress in streamlining, regulating, coordinating, and conducting credible examinations and award TVET qualifications in Uganda. The climax of the celebrations will be a conference on 23rd March 2022 at Hotel Africana at 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. The theme of the conference is Competence-Based Assessment for Competitive Labor Force and Economic Development. The guest of honor, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, will also officiate at the groundbreaking of the construction of UBTEB Assessment Center at Chambogo Hill. For details, contact the Chairperson Organizing Committee on 0772 46 69 50 or visit the website on www.ubteb.eo.ug.